Alright, here we go. So welcome to the show where we talk all about motorbikes and more motorbikes while driving around motorbikes. In this case the scooter, because the motorbike is in repairs. So, how are you all feeling this morning? Do leave a comment and hit up those hearts. Let everybody know about the Good Morning Show. And we'll get right to it. So, this morning we're going to talk about the new EU4 norm, which really affects all sorts of motorbikes. Many are going out of production because they can't meet the new specs. They can't meet the new and very strict guidelines of the EU for noise cancellation, and of course also the exhaust pipe fumes. They're too dirty apparently. At least they need to rethink a lot of the things to become the new EU4 norm. Some of the things which are going the way of the dodo include the Panigale 1299 Ducati, which really hurts my heart. I only test rode the bike once, but it was an absolute blast. I think what they mentioned was that it's just way too loud. There is no way they can make it more quiet. So that's why that bike is going the way of the dodo. Some of the other things included in the EU4 norm, which are a bit more controversial, include the fact that all new bikes need to have ABS. And while that isn't so much of a surprise, what is the fact that you may not be able to turn it off at any time. It needs to be fixed into the bike and not be able to be turned off. So that's a big downer, especially for anybody who goes to the racetrack and wishes to try it out without. Well, looks like you're shit out of luck. So all new bikes will have ABS, which in essence is not a bad thing, but the fact you can't turn it off, well, that pisses me off. I'm personally a kind of guy who likes to ride motorbikes on the racetrack. Do let me know about the sound quality. I'm checking out a new mic just about now. It's a bit less comfortable, but it's supposed to have better audio quality. Do let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, hit up those hearts and let your friends know about the Good Morning Show. Anyway, so ABS. I'm the kind of guy who drives a lot on the racetrack as well, really enjoys himself there. I actually got a Kawasaki Ninja, a 06 model. It doesn't have any electronics, well, apart of course from, the regular electronics from firing the piston and whatnot. But apart from that, it's got no ABS, it's got no traction control, it's got no speed, nothing. Purely all mechanical. Which is great, because I will never have that problem, and I love riding my bike without any electronical help, just me, myself, and the track. Now, for all you unlucky folks, it won't be possible anymore in the future. Oh well, there's always going to be the old models around. Maybe at some point they'll literally die off and all we're left with is ABS. Well, hey, that's just the way. Now, the second new thing in the EU4 norm that's going to come up is a little, how shall we call it? A little plug-in. It's a little plug where the police can just stick in their diagnostics tool and read what the hell you've been doing. Currently, it's not as bad as it sounds. The only thing they really want to check is the fact that the bike runs on EU4 norm specs. It just basically means that you can get your bike at, the normal going rates and whatever, with the normal motor injection rates, and you can tune it. I mean, this has been going on for ages, where you just optimize the fuel injection to the specific rest that you're revving at, and it really helps you get the maximum power out of your bike. Now, that won't be possible in the future, because in most cases, the most likely scenario is optimizing your fuel injection actually means your bike will be breaking not only maybe sound limits, but even worse, pipe smoke, exhaust fumes regulations. Which really means if you change the injection or literally anything to do with how the motor runs, you're going to run into trouble with the law, because, well, your bike doesn't run according to EU4 norm specifications anymore. And they'll just be able to check for a fact by plugging in a little device and saying, hey, they've done that. Now that's one thing. That's already terrible enough, and makes me wonder how used bike sales really going to spike in Europe. So if you're planning on getting a bike in Europe, right now is probably the right time, because man, I think this is going to stop some people from buying new bikes, and everybody's going to jump on used bikes. There is quite a saturated, used bikes market right now in Europe. So they don't have time for it. I mean, there's so much. I found a bike it was like 3 years old. It had 1,000 kilometers on it. A 3-year-old bike, you know, like barely even touched. It was just garage decoration, I suppose, rather than actual riding fun. So yeah, the used bike market is saturated, and with the advent of all these new EU4 norm regulations, we're going to really see a spike in sales, I'm going to estimate. So if you're planning on getting a bike, get in now. Anyway, so the second part of this diagnostics tool is it's not only going to be is it EU4 norm specified. The second thing that's actually going to happen is they're going to be able to read out the max speed driven. I don't know right now exactly how, in what specification. I think it's like per day, like how fast have you been going up today. And so I mean, yeah, just a quick hint, we're on the Autobahn here, but this is the Swiss Autobahn, not the German Autobahn. So unlike the German Autobahn, the Swiss Autobahn does have speed limits. It's limited to 120 kph, which is about 80 miles, I believe. So we're not going to go much faster than this. I'm actually curious to find out. If you can still hear me, let me know. I've never been on the Autobahn with this setup before. I usually rent another one. So please do let me know if you have any feedback concerning, you know, this new section, the camera, the microphone, or anything else, and just keep finger banging that heart button, right? Alright, so yeah, the second thing is that they're gonna track max speed, which if you live in Germany, yeah, you can see I was on the Autobahn, man. But I guess anywhere else in the world, actually, especially in Europe, because that's where the norms will hit. I don't know how the manufacturers are going to handle international models, if they're all going to be EU norm specified, or if they're going to have different setups now for different continents. But anywhere else in Europe, you're fucked. Because if you cannot prove something like, I was in Germany today, or I was on a racetrack, they're going to fine you hard time. They're going to read out that thing and see you drove like 150, 160 max today. Oh, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. I mean, right now, if the max speed is the only thing they can read, I guess it's still not okay, but, you know, not as bad as it could be. I wonder if in the future they plan on doing something like they do with the trucks here in Europe, where they can literally track like every minute you drive, where you drive, how fast you've been going, to make sure that you uphold all the regulations and laws. If that will happen with the bikes, man, it's over. It's over. It's gonna be, it's not gonna be fun anymore. And the next probable thing is they're gonna link it up to some automated ticket printing machine, and every time you break the speed limit by like 2-3 kph, you're just gonna keep sending you bills and bills after bills. I hope that's not what's gonna happen, but it really makes me worried. And I'm really worried actually that the way I learned of this, you know, new EU4 norms, you know, it was just through a forum that's not in the news, no one covers it. And we're just, we never get to vote on it. Okay, so in Switzerland we're quite democratic, but like this is a thing, this is a law or specifications that are just being like put on to us, where we literally have no say whatsoever. Some dude in Europe Parliament thought it was a good idea to make it mandatory to have an ABS that you can never turn off, and that you need to have a little sticker where you can track people if they're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You literally leave no room for, you know, self-governing, or even like Switzerland, which isn't even part of the European Union, to you know, to have their own authority. It just, you know, it just goes over your head, man. This really pisses me off. But yeah, so much to the two big new things about the new EU form. I don't exactly know when it will hit. Maybe we'll cover that in the next morning show. Some of the other things, a lot of the current models which are available to buy here in Switzerland probably won't make it through the EU4 norm, which means they will no longer be sold. There's quite a few Japanese manufacturers suffering from this. For Kawasaki, they haven't announced which ones will be cancelled. They've announced the ZX-10R will be EU4 norm specified. They haven't, I think, mentioned anything about any other models. So we know the Ninja, the big Ninja, will be around, but we don't know anything about all the other models. I think most likely the newer models, which they can, you know, adapt to the new norm, they will. The ones which it just doesn't make sense because it's too much work, they'll probably drop. Then KTM apparently, you know, being very preemptive of the changes. Apparently they're bringing all models through the new EU4 norm, which is great. I like KTM. I don't like the way they look, but I've never actually driven one. I need to. I'll drive around once with my dad's Super Duke at some point. It's $12.99, big thing, you know. Feels like the naked bike Panigale. You know, like my favorite bike right now, if I had the money, would probably either be a Super Leggera from Ducati, or yeah, the $12.99 Panigale. They're just amazing bikes, but they just cost way too much as well. Not just like initial purchasing, but also maintenance. It's just huge with these things. They're Italian. They like to be pampered, you know, they spend more time in the garage being fixed than actually on the track, that sort of thing. Oh well. But if they ride, they're great fun to ride. I can definitely recommend. If you have the budget and you want a great sounding bike and a great driving bike, definitely go for the Ducati. But as mentioned, KTM bringing all bikes, or almost all bikes, through the new EU4 norm, and then we have Ducati, you know, struggling hard. They've always been the loudest V2 air-cooled engines, incredible. They just stuck to the old philosophy of building bikes, and yeah, it gets very difficult now to bring them through the new EU4 norm. I think it's mainly because of the sound issues. Now, from a fuel, from an exhaust fumes perspective, I think they could do a lot of the adaptations. There have been great progress in the last couple of years in regards to reducing that. But I think the biggest thing is just going to be the noise. Ducatis are so noisy. I mean, you realize that if you ever get the chance, do go drive a Panigale. I mean, you turn that thing on and it feels like, I don't know, things are exploding between your thighs. It just feels like an earthquake is happening. People are dying, that's what it feels like. And you haven't even touched the throttle, right? And when you hit that throttle, oh my god, not only do your eyeballs fall into the back of your head, but it's just so loud. It is unbelievable. So maybe that's why they're stopped produced. They won't be able to bring it through the EU4 norm. Now there is one little good thing with the Panigale 1299. Apparently there's like a for models who just came to the market recently, they're giving them like a year's extra. So it looks like 1299 will still be sold in 2017. I think also in limited numbers. I'm not quite sure about that. I'll need to do some more research, but it looks like that's what's going to be happening. So yeah, so Ducati is slashing a lot of their models apparently. Honda, wow man, Honda, you won't believe it, but Honda actually said that they're gonna want to stop production of their 600. The 600, oh my god, how can they stop the 600 CBR, man? That's like an idol. It's been around for so long. Everybody knows that the little fire blade. It's such a good entry model into superbikes as well. But apparently, not only would it apparently cost too much to make it EU4 norm, but also they haven't been selling as many as they'd like to, and they've recently stated that, you know, the time of the superbike kind of passed, and that they're actually planning on focusing on different models. So that's what's going to be happening. However, I forgot Suzuki. I haven't heard much about, but I think it's going to be the same as at the other Japanese bike manufacturers. We're probably going to drop the older models and focus on the newer models, trying to fix those which are easy to adapt to EU4 norm, and yeah, you really don't want to spend, you know, they don't want to spend too much money on an old model which doesn't sell as much anymore. So they're really trying to push the new model. As with Honda, you know, the 650 rather than the 600, those kind of things. However, I forgot. I haven't heard anything about BMW, but assuming they're like a German manufacturer, they will certainly make sure that all their bikes are in the new EU4 specifications. You know, if they were VW, I'd just say they write a program. But hey, nah, I'm quite confident about a BMW. Yeah, someone's getting a ticket. Yeah, we need to make money. Give people tickets. Easiest way. Easiest way. Alright folks, I think that brings the morning show to an end. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for leaving comments. If you haven't yet, please do leave a comment just to say what you thought of this show, what you thought of the audio, video and other quality. Don't mention driving quality, I know. Scooters are bikes, but they still get you from A to B, so that's that. Anyway, thank you for tuning in to the Good Morning Show. Finger bang that heart button, and I'll see you next time.